Okay, so before we actually get to life drawing from the figure, I wanted to review proportion rules with you guys. And I know some of you are just fine on proportion, but others need a quick reminder. So let's start with how to begin. And here's what I usually do. It's not the only answer, but you want to start with the gesture of the head and the neck. So when you're drawing the face from the front, the head is kind of egg-shaped, so wider at the top, narrower as it goes down towards the chin. The eye line can be found right in the middle of the head, so that's what that middle line is. And then if you find the hairline and you divide from the hairline, which is up there, to the bottom of the chin, that divides neatly into thirds. So what that does is it gives you the eyebrow line and the bottom of the nose. So hairline to eyebrow line to bottom of the nose to the chin. And you can see that's what I'm doing there. You have to kind of guesstimate where the hairline begins, and the hairline is where the hair starts. So if you were to shave someone's head, it's where the hair starts on the forehead. So here's a couple rules about eyes. The width of the nose is the same usually as the distance between the two eyes. By the way, one eye can usually fit between two eyes, which means the length of each eye is equal to the width of the nose. And you can see I'm double, triple checking the thirds. So from hairline to chin, divide into thirds. These are rules which are really good to memorize because you'll use them throughout your life. Some artists can kind of just intuit where proportions go, but these have helped me out a ton. So another rule, if there is no head tilt, the ears are typically found if you line up where the eyebrows are. They're found from the eyebrow line to the bottom of the nose. So if you compare that, so it's almost like you're putting a grid on top of this face and neck to try and figure out the placement of eyes, nose, mouth. Some artists will do a dividing line down the center of the face, and that can help. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Usually if you drop a line from the outer corner of each eye, that's the thickness of the neck. And of course, just observing your model is incredibly important too. So that's just the gist of doing a face from the front. I'm going to show you a face from the 3/4 and one from the side view as well. I always start with the top of the head, so a little mark for the top of the head and the bottom of the chin, and then I figure out my width of the head. So the length goes after the height. And it starts off as what's called a gesture, so I'm just trying to get the shape of the head. The shape of the head from the 3/4 view, which is when the head is partially turned, is a little bit trickier than the face from the front or from the side profile. But you still kind of want to think of the head shape as kind of being similar to a skull. You're going to see that on the profile, the one from the side view in particular, but it's always good to know your anatomy, including bone and muscle. And if you don't know, observe. So here's the head, the jaw, the neck. And then from there, you can start to do the outline of the hair and the features. There's the dividing line that kind of bisects the center line of the face. It should go right through the middle between the two eyes, the septum right through the middle of the nose, and the cupid's bow on that upper lip. And then I do my dividing line, so I figure out hairline, and then I divide into thirds to get the eyebrow. There's the eyebrows there, the nose, and then the eyes go halfway in the head. And remember, because it's 3/4, the side of the face where I'm seeing more of, that eye needs to be slightly bigger. You'll see more of the nose on that right side, and you'll see more of the mouth too. So you always have to tell yourself, if it's 3/4, you're seeing more of one side of the face than the other. And these are quick. They're from life, so they don't have to necessarily be perfect, but try and get the correct proportions. The ear placement usually ties right into the jawline, so ears are typically between the eyebrow and the bottom of the nose unless the head is tilted. Okay, here is the face from the side view. And the one thing about the side view that you have to know is that it's pretty much a square. So the height and the width are usually equal. So here I am drawing the back of the head, and you really want to think skull here. So you're trying to make this sort of look like a skull. I noticed that on the reference I was using that the face is tilted back. You are, of course, looking from life, so you want to see if the bottom lower half of the face is angled or is it perfectly vertical, and then attach that neck. If you notice, the neck ties into the jawline about midway through that angle of the jaw. And then the back of the neck is beyond the jawline. So you want to look for that and think about that cranium as housing a brain. So it has to kind of bulge out back there. There's some indents at the brow line, and then that nose projects out. One thing about the nose is when viewed from the side, the nose is attached to the face about halfway, and then it's sticking out into open air for the other half. So the tip of the nose is in open air. So a lot of students will get that incorrect, so double check. The eye is going to be a little bit smaller because it's viewed from the side. Usually if you draw a line straight up from the outer edge of the nostril, that cartilage, straight up, that's where the eye starts. So you want to like drop a line either from the eye to the width of the nose or vice versa. The mouth, when viewed from the side, looks kind of like a heart shape. It's like a heart that's broken and it's on its side, so FYI. These are the materials we'll be using for today. So we have a big stick of vine charcoal, a little twig of vine charcoal, compressed charcoal block, a blender eraser, and a yellow pencil eraser. Here's how you will be preparing your surface, and it's really messy. We're working on newsprint here, and you take a chunk of the vine charcoal, the very blocky, thick, big piece, and you're going to be like shading that all in using the side of your block, and then you blend it with a paper towel. This is essentially making your own toned paper, and you're going to be going in there with the vine charcoal stick. And the great thing about the vine charcoal is it wipes off so easily, so you really don't need an eraser besides your finger. And you're going to start to go in there and get in those features, so you're practicing those proportion rules and making adjustments as necessary. And this is a 3-minute pose, so it's going to be relatively quick. We'll do one other pose that is 15 minutes. So you want to get some information in there, and you can get a little bit of shading using the fine charcoal there to fill in, but you're also going to be erasing out, which is called working in the negative, which is why you have the kneaded eraser, or you could use the end of your pencil eraser, and that will pop those lights out. So you want to look at where the lightest areas are and use your kneaded eraser in those light areas. Now if you make a mistake, you can just blend it back with a paper towel, or you can even use your finger. This is messy work today. I'm not saying that we will always work like this. It's just a method that a lot of figure drawers, like figure artists, will employ. That last pose is going to be our long one. So you're going to have to make sure all your proportions are correct before moving into shading and erasing out material. Take your time. 15 minutes will feel like forever, but that's good. You can get in a little bit more information, and in the final stages you can get stuff like detail. You are allowed to use the compressed charcoal for hair or for dark shadows, or maybe within the eyes. Wherever you're seeing dark values, you can push the darks even further with the compressed charcoal stick.